Men need to understand that there are double standards. They like the double standards when it benefits them, just like women like the double standards that it benefits us, right? So let's go there. Don't complain now that the double standards doesn't benefit you. If a man put his hands on a woman, he's going to suffer more repercussions than if he would have restrained himself.
I think we need to start teaching our boys that if it gets like this, if you know if you're with a mate and she's putting her hands on you, it's time to walk away. You can't put yourself in a compromising situation.
This is a double standard that I don't like. And the reason is because we condition our boys and men to have restraint just because you can physically beat a woman up. And then on the flip side, we don't tell our girls, don't put your hands on a man because he can physically beat you up. You don't know, what reaction you're going to get. So show restraint when you're angry or what have you. Do not put your hands on a man. So in that regard, I think we fail our boys and girls by giving those mixed messages, because I personally believe that just because I'm stronger don't mean you should take advantage of that strength. You really need to put yourself in a situation in which you are avoiding that. If it ever gets to that point, then at that point in time, one of y'all need to just cut out the relationship, whoever needs to. But the relationship, shouldn't be built on a guy always restraining himself from physically putting his hands on a woman when a woman is initially the aggressor. Like I remember reading a report before doing some like just regular research that there are so many men that are in physically abusive relationships, not because they can't, fight back, but because they've been conditioned to not fight back. And in that regard, they should walk away. And I think we don't support, like we don't push out that idea enough. We just keep telling men, restrain yourself. And I don't care how good she can fight. Truth be told, she cannot go toe to toe with if she fights like that, then a dude is not going to be able to really restrain himself.
Yeah.
He's going to have to come to her like a man. Exactly. And then he'll get upset if he beats her down and then be like, well, he could have, he knew he could have beat her up. He shouldn't have did that. No, boo. I'm sorry.
I feel you with that, because you see how she threw him.
I think it's an echo, lady.
I don't know why there's an echo. But do you see how what's her name? Christian. How do you say her name? Christian. Do you see how she threw him on the floor in the video? Like, I'm all for, I love, that men, the idea that men are supposed to be able to have like a certain level of restraint. But I'm not going to hold you. If I had a son, I'm going to tell him to have self-control, but I'm not going to have him I wouldn't have him, like I have my godson. I'm not going to have him having any little girl put her hands on him. I don't know what she's capable of. The first law of nature is self-preservation. So no. And then, not to bring this guy up, but and I know, politics and colors or whatever aside, race aside, the young man that got killed by that girl, Courtney, whatever her name is, there was evidence of her putting her hands on him and him, being, controlling himself, and now he's not here to speak about it. So
I do think that, so my point was, it's like, if your life is in danger, protect yourself at all costs. If a woman is coming at you with a knife, you better protect yourself at all costs and knock her out. But I'm saying, men need to understand that there are double standards. They like the double standards when it benefits them, just like women like the double standards that it benefits us, right? So let's go there. Don't complain now that the double standards doesn't benefit you. If a man put his hands on a woman, he's going to suffer more repercussions than if he would have restrained himself. Period. And I say that to men. Okay, you want to get mad? You're dealing with some demons? Guess what? You're going to have even some bigger demons, because when the laws get involved, your ass is going to jail. and you're going to have assault charges.
I think that's one of the things that mistaken. I think you even said this earlier, B. Taylor. I think we need to start teaching our boys that if it gets like this, if you're with a mate and she's putting her hands on you, it's time to walk away. You can't put yourself in a compromising situation because it's going to end bad for you. Even if you've done nothing wrong, if you hit her, it can turn bad real fast and it's not even worth it. Walk away from her. She is not the one.
And I do feel like the men in our community get mad at that. They're like, nah, and the women are teaching their sons, if a girl hits you, you hit her back. We're setting our sons up for failure because there's a lot of men who have charges, felony, bad domestic violence. Once you have that on your reputation and on your record, it's hard for you to get a job. So you got to think like, this woman put her hands on me, I need to leave. If I feel like I want to beat the mess out of this girl and get myself in trouble, why can't you have the strength enough to leave, just like you have the strength to put your hands on her?
So, but with that, like we have the stats on what it looks like for women leaving those types of situations, right? I don't know why we're exempting men from having the type of strength of being caught in that loop, right? I think the stat is something like it takes from 7 to 9 times for a woman to actually leave a domestic violence situation, right? I think it's really easy when you're not in that situation, when you're not in love with that person, to say just walk away. But to detach in that way, especially if they're used to that toxicity, if they grew up in that kind of environment, I think it's way easier said than done. And be tailored to what you were saying earlier about that kind of, you can defend yourself if it's a life or death situation, but at what point are men allowed to de-escalate before it gets to that? Like, at what point are you able to defend yourself to say, hey, this is a boundary that is reinforced with a little bit of strength? I'm not advocating for, a Rihanna Chris Brown situation, but at what point are you, without repercussion, allowed to say, I'm not going to let it get to a point where it's life and death?
I think that, like I said, like the man can use his strength. I remember a long time ago, I asked a guy, I said, what would you do if a woman starts punching you? And he was like, I'm going to just hem her up. I'm going to throw her against the wall and let her know this is how strong I am. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. And that, I feel like if you show a woman your strength, she's going to back down. I feel, and if she doesn't, then you leave. You toss her, throw her, push her, whatever, and get her off of you, and you leave. And you protect yourself by leaving. Because if you feel like you're about to get to the point where you're about to snap on her, you need to leave. Because you need to think about that moment you're trying to prove yourself as a man. Like, I'm a man. You don't need to prove yourself as a man by hitting a woman. You're going to look weak doing that. That's like me kicking a dog.
Do you think that will work for Krishan?
That's what I was He was walking away. He
probably hemmed him up like this.
Okay, and this is where I say, I guess it depends on the woman, because there are some
gonna have to knock her out.
Okay, that don't work.
You have to knock her out.
I'm talking about women like us. Now, women like her, that's like built like a man and strong like a man. Now that's a different situation, because I wouldn't even want to fight a woman like that, because I'm like, no, that's too much.
I'm good. I used to box and I would never. I'm like,
I would not. No.
I'm like, okay, yeah, she's ready.
Like she's the type that don't care if her face get messed up. I'm gonna be thinking about my face.
Yes, exactly.
Let me tell you, if a man throw me over the wall like that, I'm
like, okay, daddy, all right, I'm gonna calm down.
You got it.
Okay. But I would say that I am guilty of that, and I've seen it where I would get mad and be like, oh, you did this, and not taking it serious, because I'm thinking, I'm a woman. My little hit doesn't hurt you. It's more so, I feel like an ego thing, unless you're built like Rashawn. But I'm talking about like women, like women who are not built like dudes, and have that strength like a man. I don't know. I just don't feel like if a woman just hits you, that, like Rihanna, I don't feel like her hitting Chris Brown resulted, even if she was hitting him and scratching him and stuff like that, like did that he lost control. Period. And I see a lot of men. It's like, if a woman does this, I'm gonna just go off on her. And it's like, you're gonna
lost control too. If she got to the point where she was hitting and scratching and doing all of that, she was out of control too.
Women are emotional. They're emotional.
But that's not an excuse. And I think that's what I was saying. As a society, yes, we know there are double standards. But when you have your own children, you have your own circle, your sphere of influence. So in that, you need to be raising your kid, because I've seen it in school. Like, since I work at a high school, I've seen where you have these young boys who are fighting the girls, but a lot of the times it's the girls that are being the aggressor. And you have the young boys that are coming up that, like you said, the parents are reinforcing, don't have no girl hitting on you. Like, these young guys are not playing. They don't respect the position of a woman being a weaker vessel. What they see is, if you're gonna come to me like a dude, I'm gonna treat you like a dude. And so because of that, you're definitely going to have to start teaching women, young girls, do not ever, I don't care how emotional you get, learn to control your emotions, because the uncontrolled emotion is going to end up with the woman in jail too. I've seen a situation where a young girl had hit a guy, cops came, and she got arrested. You know what I'm saying? So they're starting to take that stuff seriously. So we really need to be training our girls. Like, I don't care how emotional you get, you need to learn how to rein in your emotions. Do not be putting your hands on these guys. And then think about how that puts you in the situation as a parent. Because I'll be damned, if a dude put their hand on my daughter, even if she was wrong, just in my mindset, I probably automatically react like, babe, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? We gotta roll up on this dude, and that's not fair. But the truth of the matter is that she put us in a situation by not keeping her hands to herself.